design. Um, we're based up in Banbridge, and our company has 25 years experience in the interior design market. I got into interior design totally by accident. Um, we found that I went into a furniture shop to start selling furniture, and from that then it gradually moved on to an interior design department, which I then headed up. And 5 years ago, the economic downturn sort of gives you a size 9 in the middle of the back to encourage you to go out and start your own business. So we've been in operation now 5 years. What we do specialise in is we actually manufacture all our own upholstery furniture. We manufacture all our own drapery, but we also have our own lovely showroom. We have a really nice design studio there up in Banbridge as well, and it's all with our manufacturing on site as well. That really has been our unique selling point, is the ability to manufacture and be relatively small so that we can move with the market and have an understanding what the market requires, so that we can then move forward with that. This is some images that we can do. You know, obviously we were saying that we work with the residential market, and we also do commercial projects. We do floor covering, we do wall covering, we do our drapery and upholstery as mentioned. We also have really nice collaborations. You know, over the past couple of years we have established strong links with kitchen companies, with tile companies. We also do bathrooms as well, so we can offer a complete one-stop shop. So what we have found then is, certainly within the market, why are we involved in it? And I suppose that really this economic downturn and now the turnaround ahead in the right direction, this is really what we have witnessed. Up until recently, we found that the focus of companies who are trying to pull together an active interior design project has moved. We try to get people refocusing on that, and I think it's really a case of letting people do what they're good at. So whenever you involve interior designers, let them do interior design. You know, they are the experts in the field. What we also look at then is budget. You know, we would also assess, you know, from a development point of view, if you have a 20, 30, 40 house development, we would look at that development. We try to develop an action plan for you as a developer. We look at a percentage value of the property, so we can invest that into a show house. Once we have that in the show house, then it's really up to you guys to see the benefits of that and push that forward and able to sell on the rest of the houses or the units within that. That percentage, we'll talk about. I've got a live project that we've done, and we'll talk about that later. We normally ask for about 15% of the estimated market value, and that estimated market value is something which is quite important, because we believe that we can increase that value, which we'll show you later. Now again, we would talk about our net value. You need to pull the VAT out of the sale of that property, and obviously you would have there's your development levy. Take that out. It's just the market value of the actual property. Three there, you know, relationships and liaisons. I'm going to stand here and tell you that we are very good at what we do, and I suppose everybody who will come up here will tell you that. But really, we work well with architects, we work well with developers, we work well pulling together the right scheme for the property, for the end user, and I think that's really where our expertise lies. You always end up with your end user, and we try to go from there and work our way back, almost deconstruct it, so we're giving them the best possible option. The visualization of the property is where we pull all our resources. If you are a developer, you know, we can work with your nominated suppliers. Let us do the design work, let us pull it together, and then add our bit into it. And this is really the key. Once you create your show house, and once that is sitting within the development, that is whenever perception becomes reality. That's whenever that end user is standing in that property going, I could live here. And that's really what we want to achieve. We want to change that from a house to a home. And I think that really is where the crux of this lies. And again, we want to increase market value. And we will talk through that there later whenever I have a sample here of what we've done. But we can add value to it, whether it's an individual build, whether it's a development, or indeed a hotel. You know, wherever you need to be, that's where we can add the value. And certainly the benefits that are there, again, deconstructing it, putting it back together again, end user. That's who has to feel that. So your end user's walking into the property and going, I love this, all right? Whenever we are doing design work for individual residents, we want to hear those words. I love that. And if we can get that, we then work back. Just a little bit on the construction rise. You know, obviously, these were figures taken from the UK market, and they are showing quite a strong rise. Now, 2 weeks' time, I'm not quite sure what's going to happen. It could go up, it could go down, it could go left, it could go right. Just don't know. We were listening to Tom Maloney from CIS earlier, and he certainly gave a very strong indication that the resident making a house a home. We put in beds, we turned down the beds, we had plates, sevens put on the table. You can see there we scatter cushions in, furniture in, mirrors up. It looked like somebody was living in that house. Whenever we pulled that together, I think that he was pleasantly surprised at the quality that we were produced within the budget that he had actually set for us. And we'll talk about that budget. Before we do that, perception becomes reality. We talked about that. Whenever we talk about that, we want that end user to actually realise that could be their home. And that's where we start to see the increase in the value. Now, what we did with that, and what we talked to Raymond about, was we took a 25k of his money, and in effect that was the budget set. And I actually talked to him about this yesterday, and what he said was, you know, you're talking about as an investment that's actually a cost within the property, but it wasn't. It was actually cash flow. This is how he described this. This was a cash flow difference, because at the end, whenever the show house was used as a marketing tool, he sold the show house. And that 25k went on to the price of the property. So that show house in effect cost him nothing. Right? There was no cost involved, it was literally cash flow. Now, what he did was the local property experts, your estate agents, you know, whenever you're talking to them saying you had 31 houses to sell, what is the approximate market value? They give an approximate market value. What Raymond did, put €10,000 on the price of every one of those properties. Now, that was quite a bold move, considering what everybody else was doing around him. But he did that on the strength of the quality of the show house. And in effect, what he netted was an extra €310,000. And that was the show house. That was bringing us in to do that for him. And I think this is where we're at. Read a book when I was 16. It's Four Wheels to Fortune, guy selling cars, had nothing, bought no car, ends up he's driving Ferraris. But one of his chapters was 3 rules to selling. They're there. Presentation, presentation, presentation. So, taking the developers out of it, what we also do is that we work with individual builds. In the UK market, UK is right at the very end. It's sitting at 10% of their total construction is individual builds. Where in Ireland, we're sitting somewhere in the middle, there's about 59 sitting in here. So we do work with architects, we do work with the individual user, and we've really noticed a big change now, sort of from 2014 and beyond, where we're getting involved at an earlier stage. It used to be the client would have had a house build done, sitting, drying out, and coming to us and going, well, we want to interior design this. It's that point whenever we point out the problems where there's a door in the middle of a wall and we can't put a sofa in. It's that point where we say, well, why is your patio doors opening in and not out? Why is your window stuck up in the corner of the wall? Will you want to put drapery on that gable end that's all glass? So these are issues or problems that we were sort of coming across, but now we're finding that the end users are coming to us a little bit sooner, and involving us along with the architect, so employing our services. And I think it just gives a much cleaner, service for them, and it perhaps gives the end user a little bit more confidence to know that the money that they're spending is being spent right, and they end up with a house that is their home. Again, we're very keen to work with people within this market, but again, we can go right across that spectrum. This really is what we do. You know, we'll work with contractors, we'll work with developers, we'll work with the self-builders, and we want to be involved at the architect stage so we can bring in our interior design services. And at the end of it, we do see that we have an increase in value of the property, whether that is a full development, whether that is a hotel, or whether that is an individual build. That's monetary value, but there also is a degree of satisfaction that you just can't analyse, so that your end user is going to be really happy with that. And ultimately what that does, it also minimises costs and mistakes. So that's us. Ultimately, interior designers, we are normally the last one to get our hand in the pot, but you can really see that there is a distinct benefit of having us involved in any project. Thank you. Have you any questions? Yes, go ahead.
I understand that the time